Hey everyone, welcome to the Everyday Human Podcast. My name is Easton Taverna. Each day I'll share a reflection written by me and inspired by literature, poetry, music, movies, video games, and more. And after that, I'll share a prompt for you to write your own reflection. Together, we'll explore what it means to be human. Every month, we'll walk a new path, taking a look at life, death, the universe, and everything in between. Thanks for coming along. I'm glad you're here. For more, visit eastontaverna.com or join me on Instagram at _everydayhuman. Hello everyone, it's March 7th. We're a week in already. I hope you're doing well. Today's reflection is titled, Just the Beginning, and this one was inspired by a quote from Kahlil Gibran's book of prose poetry called The Prophet. This is a fascinating and excellent book. It was written in 1923 in English and has been translated into over 100 languages, and it is supposedly one of the best-selling books of all time, has never been out of print, and sold somewhere around 9 million copies in its American edition alone. That is something to put on your resume. It consists of 26 sort of poem, stories, fables, where a philosopher prophet shares wisdom on universal themes such as love, marriage, children, life, giving, laws, freedom, passion, friendship, death, work, and on and on. And it is just beautiful. Gibran was a Lebanese-American writer, poet, and artist. He was also considered a philosopher, though he rejected that title. He immigrated to the U.S. in 1895. His mother worked as a seamstress, and he went to school in Boston, where his intellect and talent were quickly realized. He died at a young age, 48. It was complications of cirrhosis of the liver and tuberculosis. From what I understand, after he found success in his work, he became frustrated with his later writing, and he struggled with alcoholism as a way to try and subdue chronic pain that he suffered from, and I believe also depression. And this eventually, obviously, led to his decline. So that was a sad and early end, but he did leave a lasting impact and impression nonetheless. If you haven't read The Prophet, do pick this one up and give it a read. It is worth your time. And here is the quote that inspired what I wrote for today's reflection. It goes like this. For what is it to die but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing, and when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance. To me, that is a beautiful way to look at the end of life. And now here is my reflection. Watch the ocean waves crash endlessly upon the shore, restless, stubborn in their eternal struggle against land. Admirable in their tenacity? Perhaps. But should not all things rest? Even the stars must rest when they've expended their energy. And so must we. There is something beautiful about a rushing river, but the power it holds can, at the same time, be terrifying and destructive, like life. To see it still and silent can inspire the soul and instill a sense of awe, a world within it, reflecting the world around it. It is in this stillness that we can see ourselves for who and what we truly are, humans filled with hopes and dreams and fears, and endless, conflicting thoughts and emotions. It is a mistake to feel the wind or the sun and not believe you are one with them, or to ignore the fact that when you die, the earth shall reclaim you and transform you into something else, because that is what it does. That is what it has always done. Your life is one never-ending climb to the top of a mountain. But when you reach the top of a mountain, is that the end of the hike? Or do you stop to breathe and look out at the sky above and land below? Do you descend to return to where you started? Know that death is not the end, but rather a continuation of the journey, in whatever shape that looks like. An afterlife, A return to matter to be transformed into something else? You'll find out soon enough. It is a sacred transition, something beautiful. If we are all lucky enough to live, then we are all equally lucky to die. And there ends today's reflection. An interesting way to think about death as something sacred and as a transition and something to be lucky to experience because we've been lucky to live. But if we can start thinking of it as something else like that, maybe we can get away from the fear of it that's been so drilled and ingrained into us for so long. Maybe. I don't know. Again, easier said than done. And now it's time for your reflection question. Okay, so in your journal, you can write down your notes or just consider the following question. Have I perceived my eventual death as something permanent or as another transition? I can say that I have considered it as both in my lifetime, and I'm sure my view on it will continue to grow and change as I grow older and think about it more and experience more of life. All right, that's it for today, March 7th. I'll be back tomorrow, March 8th, with another reflection. Have a good one and take care.